My mother looked right at me through the window, then turned back to laugh at something my cousin said. She didn't wave. She didn't mouth, "Come in." She just forgot I existed. I was standing outside the graduation venue, diploma in hand. Summa cum laude, 4 years of work. And not a single person from my family saved me a seat. But in exactly 45 minutes, every single one of them would be begging to sit next to me. My name is Valerie, and I'm 24 years old. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. Not just graduate. I worked 3 jobs to get there. Campus library during the week, catering gigs on weekends, freelance graphic design at midnight when everyone else was sleeping. Nobody handed me anything. My mom remarried when I was 12. Her new husband brought his daughter into our family, Brianna. Same age as me, same house, completely different treatment. Brianna got a car at 16. I got a bus pass. Brianna got her apartment paid for. I got a part-time job application and a pat on the back. Brianna got her tuition covered. I got figure it out yourself. And I did. I figured it all out. Every single semester. I studied business and marketing because I had this quiet dream. I wanted to prove that I could build something without anyone's help, without their money, without their approval. I wasn't the favorite. I wasn't even the backup favorite. I was the one they remembered when they needed someone to blame. If you've ever been the forgotten one in your own family, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. I read every single comment. Here's the thing about being invisible. You learn to move in silence. You learn to build things nobody notices. And sometimes that's exactly where your power comes from. Because I had something they never bothered to see. 4 years of silent, relentless work that was about to pay off in a way none of them saw coming. Let me take you back to that morning. Graduation day. I woke up at 5 a.m. because I was too excited to sleep. I pressed my gown 3 times to make sure there were no wrinkles. I practiced my walk in the mirror like an idiot. Then I sent a message to our family group chat. Hey everyone, ceremony starts at 10. Doors open at 9. I save seats in row 14. Can't wait to see you all there. No response. Not a single thumbs up. Not even a congrats. Nothing. I told myself they were probably busy getting ready. Maybe they'd text later. I got to the venue an hour early, found 5 seats in a good spot. Not too far back, not too close. I put my jacket on one, my bag on another. I spread out enough to save room for Mom, my stepfather, Brianna, my grandmother, and my younger stepbrother Kyle. I sat there alone, watching other families pour in with balloons and flowers. Then, 20 minutes before the ceremony, I saw them. My whole family walked through the main doors. Mom in a blue dress, stepfather in a blazer, Brianna in heels holding a coffee like she was the one being celebrated. I waved. They didn't wave back. They walked right past my row, didn't even look in my direction. I grabbed my things and followed them to the other side of the venue. They were settling into seats near the front. Way better seats than the ones I'd saved. Mom, I said, standing at the edge of their row. I saved us seats over there. Row 14. She barely looked up. Oh, honey, Brianna's friend needed seats for her family. There wasn't room. You understand? I blinked. What? Brianna didn't even glance at me. She was fixing her lipstick. My grandmother leaned over. Valerie, don't make a scene. You've always been so dramatic about these things. Just sit somewhere. I stood there for a second, waiting for someone to say they were joking, to scoot over, to make room. No one moved. I walked to the back of the venue and found a single empty seat in the corner, next to strangers. During the ceremony, I kept glancing toward my family, hoping maybe they'd turn around. Maybe they'd realize I wasn't with them and feel bad, When they called my name, summa cum laude, I walked across that stage with my heart pounding. I looked at my family. They were looking at their phones. Brianna was laughing at something on her screen. I accepted my honors, shook the dean's hand, and walked off stage with this weird, hollow feeling in my chest. But then, something unexpected happened. The dean returned to the microphone. Before we close, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Diane Mercer, CEO of Aspire Marketing Group. She has a special announcement for one of our graduates. I froze. I knew that name. I knew that woman. What no one in my family realized was that I'd been secretly interning at her company for the past year. Diane stepped up to the microphone, calm and confident. She scanned the crowd. Then she said the words that changed everything. I'd like to invite one graduate to join me on stage, someone whose work ethic changed how I think about the next generation. My heart stopped. After the ceremony, I tried one more time. The family gathered outside for photos. I walked over, still holding my diploma, my honors cords draped around my neck. "Can I get in the picture?" I asked. My stepfather barely turned. "We're doing immediate family first." Brianna smirked. "You can take the picture, though." She handed me 3 phones. I stood there like an idiot, snapping photos of them for 10 minutes while they smiled and laughed. Then they announced they were going to dinner. Some upscale place downtown, a reservation they'd apparently made weeks ago. "Am I coming?" I asked. My mother gave me that tight-lipped smile. "It's a small table, sweetie. Brianna's boyfriend is coming. Maybe next time." I didn't say anything. I just watched them leave. I lingered near the exit of the venue, still in my cap and gown, watching other families celebrate. Hugging. Crying. Proud. That's when I overheard them. My grandmother was talking to a family friend near the water fountain. "Valerie did finish, yes?" she said. "But you know how those honors things work. They hand them out like candy now. It doesn't really mean much." Brianna's voice cut in loud and clear. She probably just got it because she had nothing else to do. No social life, no boyfriend, just books. They laughed. My face burned so hot I thought I might pass out. A stranger nearby, a young woman holding flowers, looked at me with soft eyes. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. I turned away and pulled out my phone. I didn't want to cry. Not there. Not in front of anyone. That's when I saw the notification. A withdrawal alert. From my savings account. $2,000. Gone. My fingers trembled as I opened my messages. There was a text from my mother. "Borrowed a little for Brianna's graduation gift. She's been so stressed supporting you emotionally through school. I'll pay you back eventually." I read it 3 times to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. Brianna didn't even graduate. She dropped out 2 years ago. And somehow, my emergency fund, money I'd earned from 3 jobs, was her graduation gift. I didn't cry. I screenshotted everything. Then I logged into my banking app and removed my mother as a joint holder. Something clicked in that moment. I was done. Done begging for crumbs from people who'd already decided I wasn't worth a seat at the table. But here's what they didn't know. 1 year earlier, I'd applied for an internship at Aspire Marketing Group. It was a long shot. Hundreds of applicants. I didn't tell anyone, not because I was hiding it, but because no one ever asked. The internship was unpaid for the first 6 months. I worked nights, weekends, every spare minute I had. Then they offered me a paid position. I redesigned their entire social media strategy. One of my campaigns went viral, brought in over 40,000 new customers. The CEO, Diane, started mentioning me in meetings. Then she started mentoring me. What my family didn't know was that while they were saving seats for Brianna, Diane was saving a spot for me at her company. I'd already signed the offer letter. full-time position. Starting salary higher than my stepfather's, stock options, signing bonus. They thought I was the forgotten one. They had no idea I'd been building something they couldn't ignore. Let me tell you about Diane. She was in her late 50s, sharp, self-made, the kind of woman who didn't waste words. The first real conversation we ever had was in her office after a late night. I was exhausted, running on coffee and adrenaline. She asked me why I worked so hard. I didn't lie. I don't have a safety net, I said. If I fail, no one catches me. She leaned back in her chair and smiled. Good. Safety nets make people lazy. Hunger makes people unstoppable. She saw something in me that my family never bothered to look for. Now, graduation day, Diane had done something I didn't expect. She'd sent invitations to a post-graduation reception at the university. It was a networking event for top graduates and company sponsors. Fancy, exclusive. But here's the twist. She sent the invitations under the company name, not mine. My family showed up thinking it was some general alumni event, a chance to rub elbows with important people. I could hear them from backstage. Brianna was loudly talking about connections and networking to anyone who would listen. My mother told some guest, "Our Brianna is very entrepreneurial. She's exploring options." My stepfather was bragging about his business instincts to a man who turned out to be a silent investor worth more than our whole family combined. They were performing success. And I was backstage going over my introduction speech with Diane. She handed me a microphone and looked me in the eyes. "It's time, kid. Show them what they missed." The reception hall was packed. About 150 people, graduates, executives, professors, investors. Diane took the stage. She thanked the university, talked about the future of marketing, and then said something that made my heart pound. Every year, we select one graduate for our Rising Leader Award, full salary position, signing bonus, and equity options. I saw my family perk up. Whispering, curious. Diane continued. This year's recipient didn't just meet expectations. She redesigned our entire customer outreach strategy. She worked 3 jobs while maintaining a 3.98 GPA, and she never once asked for recognition. The room went quiet. Please welcome Valerie. I walked to the stage. My mother's jaw dropped. Brianna's smile vanished. My stepfather looked like someone had slapped him. Diane handed me a framed certificate and shook my hand. The audience clapped. Cameras flashed. For one perfect moment, I let myself feel it. All of it. After the speech, I stepped off stage and headed toward the exit. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just wanted to breathe. But my mother caught up to me first. "Valerie, sweetheart." Her voice was suddenly warm. Fake warm. "Why didn't you tell us? We would have supported you." I stopped walking and turned to face her. "Supported me how?" I said. "By taking my savings for Brianna's graduation gift? By forgetting to save me a seat today?" Her face twitched. "That was a misunderstanding." "No," I said calmly. "A misunderstanding is forgetting a birthday." You looked at me through the window and turned away. Brianna stepped in, arms crossed. "You're being dramatic. You always make everything about you." I almost laughed. "That's the first true thing you've said all day. For once, this is about me." My stepfather tried to smooth things over. "Let's not do this here. We're family." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "Family saves seats," I said. "Family answers texts. Family doesn't steal from a joint account and call it borrowing." I pulled out my phone and showed the screenshot, the withdrawal, the text from my mother. A few guests nearby noticed. Their eyes widened. My grandmother stepped closer. "Valerie, this is embarrassing." I looked her dead in the eyes. No, Grandma. What's embarrassing is pretending you're proud of me now that someone important is watching. That's when Diane appeared beside me. She put a hand on my shoulder and faced my family with a calm, icy expression. I've heard enough, she said. Valerie starts Monday. And for the record, I recruit based on character. I've seen hers. I've now seen yours. Nobody said a word. Brianna's face was red. My mother had tears in her eyes but couldn't find a single word. My stepfather stared at the floor. I didn't yell. I didn't gloat. I just walked out with Diane by my side. We grabbed coffee at a little cafe across the street. Diane told me about her own family, how they doubted her too, how she built her company from nothing while they told her she'd fail. Success is the answer, she said, not for revenge, for freedom. That night, I blocked the family group chat. I removed my mother from every account she'd ever had access to. 1 week later, I walked into Aspire Marketing Group as a full-time employee. My desk had a nameplate and a little sign from Diane that said, "You earn this seat." I almost cried when I saw it. A few days later, I got a text from Kyle, my younger stepbrother. He was only 15. "That was really cool what you did. I'm sorry they treated you like that. Can we still talk?" I smiled and typed back, "Always." I thought confronting them would feel like winning. It didn't. It felt like finally putting down something I'd been carrying for 12 years. For the first time, I didn't need their applause to know I was worth something. Their silence didn't hurt me anymore. It just proved I'd outgrown them. If you've ever been the one they forgot, the one who worked in silence while they handed everything to someone else, I see you. Hit that subscribe button if this story hit close to home, and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from right now? I read every single one. Have you ever had a moment where you finally stood up to family who underestimated you? Drop your story below. You never know who needs to hear it. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.